Guys, sorry that I look like a mess right now.
Merry Christmas!
Okay. Guys, sorry that I look like a mess right now. To get ready, I just had my job program thing today. I had it on Zoom. Because for Monday and Friday we have it on Zoom, this job program. So this video today I'm making, I've never really explained it or anything. I'm making this video talking about coming out is because I have autism. You guys might not know that I never really talked about this on my channel. Is my channel about me talking about me having autism, but I'm coming out now to the internet telling everybody that I have autism. I'll name all my diagnoses. I have autism. I was diagnosed with autism when I was in grade 9. Yeah, grade 9. Yeah, like the end of grade 9, I was diagnosed with autism. Before that, when I was in grade 6, I was supposed to get a diagnosis, but the place denied me because they thought I didn't have autism. Because like the structure of getting diagnosed is very geared towards boys. A lot of girls get diagnosed when they're older with autism. So the diagnosis structure is very biased. Sometimes, well, yeah, mostly it's just because girls are able to sometimes mask their diagnosis, like hide it, so people don't really know. So my diagnosis I have are, I was diagnosed with ADHD before. I was on medication. Maybe I'm thinking about maybe going back on medication, but I'm not sure now. But yeah, and I was recently diagnosed before a couple of years ago with epilepsy. I had 2 seizures. One was on the bus. The first one was at home. The second one was, no, the 2 were at home, and then the third one was on the bus, and I was coming to meet my mom for an appointment at the children's hospital before. When I went there, I aged out of going to the children's hospital, but I was going to meet her there and I had a seizure on the bus and I don't remember any of it. But the ones 2 at home, I was watching the same show. I was on TV at the year. It was within like the same summer it was. And I was watching the same show, Parenthood. I was watching it on Amazon Prime. I was watching the same show when I had those 2 seizures, and I had to call the ambulance to come. And I had like EEG and stuff. I'm getting a new EEG, updated one on the 20th of December. But right now I have those. I have like a learning disability. I have a little auditory processing thing with my ear, a little bit. But the main one is autism. So I'm going to go through some questions that you guys probably want to know. When did you know you had autism? Growing up, like there was probably situations and things that probably didn't know that were leading to autism, that my mom and my family didn't know that I had autism back then, because I had no real diagnosis back then, so we didn't know what was going on. But I got diagnosed and I was at the end of grade 9. Then after that I was put into the special learning support class, and I had like an EA helping me back then. Yeah, because I've been out of school for 2 years. Yeah, I've been out of school for 2 years. Well, last year I did it over age years. So I graduated in 2020, then I did over age year in the cooking program, which I failed. And now I'm out of school, but I'm doing this job program, because my last job I got terminated from. I only worked for 5 days, but this job program that I'm in is great only for people with autism. This program is for this job program. We do 6 weeks of in-class learning, then we do 6 weeks of paid work experience. We get paid for the in-class learning. What challenges do you face? One question. Sometimes I face like challenges like talking to people sometimes, but if I get more comfortable with them, I'm able to talk to them. But I have challenges with like, I always like struggle with like being organized, and I always lose things. Like recently I just lost my wallet on the bus, but I don't get it. Then no one has found it. It might have dropped it off. It was like somewhere, and now I don't have my wallet anymore because I lost it. But what difficulties do I have? difficulties being organized, being like maybe facial things like you're talking about, there's facial things or whatever, like connecting with peers that are like my own age, like connecting with them, like have a hard time with that. I have a hard time, I have a bunch of different challenges right now that I face. What stereotypes have you heard about autism? Stereotypes about autism. Autism is only in boys, maybe more in boys, but girls get diagnosed too. But a lot of girls, some get diagnosed when they're younger, but majority of girls get diagnosed when they're older, when they're like adults, or when they're like 15 or whatever. They get diagnosed when they're older with autism. And there's a spectrum too of autism. There's a spectrum, and I'm high functioning on the spectrum of being diagnosed on like high, because there's people who are different that are more low functioning, and there's people who are in between high and low, and there's people who are high functioning. There's like a very broad, wide spectrum of having autism. Because I know some people, like I'm in this choir that's started by this woman who has autism, and it's like a neurodiverse choir. Like we have younger kids and we have older kids, and like we don't discriminate with what age they are, but there are different people in there. This choir, like not everyone in the choir has autism. There's just a neurodiverse choir because there could be people with other diagnoses. But there's this girl in the choir who's like very like runs around the bunch, and like she's really good at singing, but she taught herself to play the piano by herself, and she's like, music has really helped her. Can be obsessed with certain things. Some people are obsessed with things, like certain like things, like they're really obsessed with it, but me personally, I've never had an obsession with like certain things, like obsession with this one movie or whatever, this one game, obsessed their whole life. Yeah, some people a lot of people with autism are like that, but there's also people like me who aren't really obsessed with one certain thing, like focused their mind on one certain like thing that they're obsessed with their whole life. Even there's some people who have kids who are diagnosed with autism, then they think they're autistic too, and they get a diagnosis of being autistic too. A stereotype, another one is individuals don't have emotions. Yes, people with autism do have real emotions. They can express emotions, but some people, it could be hard for them to express like emotions. Sometimes, yeah, it's like alexithymia, I think it's called, and some people have that in their like don't know what certain things to tell and like picture, and like don't know how to express emotion. Sometimes I have a hard time with that, or sometimes with facial expressions too. They could be thinking about one thing, and then some people could be perceiving it as another way. But sometimes that is like, sometimes before, when I would be like smiling when someone got hurt, but I wasn't actually smiling. I wasn't. But people thought I was, but I wasn't smiling. Autism, really smart. Yeah, there's some people who are really, really smart, and there's some people who aren't that smart with autism. But there are a lot of autistic people can be really smart and like focused, like really smart. But girls, it's really different with girls, because girls is like sometimes it's harder to tell that they have autism, because it's like they mask it, or they hide, or they like. Alright, it's just like a different spectrum, like way that girls think compared to what boys think, like what the DARE and the DSM is like more. And also with there's my diagnosis I get funding from the government, like until you're 18, you get until you're 19 here in this province, because you become an adult when you're 19 in this province that I live in Canada. You get autism funding, and you use that for programs and things, or you can get like a laptop or a computer, things that you need help with, like the funding helps with. And also I get government disability money for when I start getting money already, but I get I think 1,500 or something like that. I don't know, each month I get like that much or something, like more than that I get, and I save some of that money, or I spend some of it, but like you use it for, say you're like living alone and you need money, like that money is going to help you when you could also have a real job too, making money, because like they need supports and stuff like that, and there's a lot of support programs that you get also when you're older too, and also when you're younger, because there's a lot more programs that are more catered catered towards smaller kids, like that, like I've never done, because there's a lot of programs we didn't know when we could have got all this help when I was younger. But I get money too, and I get these other support things when I'm older, when I get turned 19. But I get government money too. And then also for housing here, they have BC housing, and they have some for the homeless. They have like a bunch of different ones for people who are like need like support worker with them working there. Yeah, so I have a support worker, but they have housing here, which is for like, I'm gonna be applying for the PWD one, persons with disability one, and you pay like $300. Like, it's based off of your income, so someone next to you could be making more money, or the person next to you could be making less money. It's 30% of what you make, you pay. But the wait list is really long for the housing thing. So he said it could take like 15 years, because they also have housing for families too here who are poor or low income that need help too, and indigenous people too. But yeah, I do have a support worker that I go out and do things with, like we go out like to a cafe, or we do homework we used to do, or we did like different things we did. Yeah, but I just finished having my last day because she's taking this course, so we ended our time together. Yeah, but I met other people, like met some people through my choir who have this. Okay, what else should I talk? Like, there's just been situations that we know that are like could be catered to way that we didn't know before that were related to my autism. I don't know if we can think of anything else to talk about, but like sometimes I get arguments. I also at school, I needed help, and he's in grade, I think 11, and 11, 12, I think the teacher wore this thing, and I could hear it in my ear. It was more for me to focus, because I have like that ear auditory processing in one ear, like a little bit. I don't notice it on my daily basis, but supposedly I do. And the teacher wore it, and you wear it in your ear, and it like helps you. You can hear the teacher talk more, and it's like in your ear, and you hear it. I wore it. And also when I was younger, I had a hard time with learning to read and write. Like, I had a hard time when I was younger, but I didn't get this diagnosed till I was in grade 9. So I had autism my whole life, and I didn't know until I was diagnosed. And also, my mom says her dad might have been autistic, but back then they didn't really have autism, because my mom was born in the 60s, and before that they didn't really have those diagnoses and stuff. But my cousin who's older, who's like 30, he has autism, and he got diagnosed as an adult. Well, I don't know what his circumstance, but he has autism. They also have a different housing, like if you don't want to live independently, they have housing where it's called a share home, where you stay with the family and you live, and the family helps you. Like, you stay in like the basement, called a share home. But sometimes when I'm talking with peers, I'm kind of quiet. And another thing, when I'm talking with peers, sometimes it's a bit like difficult for me to like I just like a bit nervous. But when I get better with them, I get more comfortable with them. Like, because I find it hard because I don't really have any friends, so I just like hang out around by myself, except for the people that I'd be with. Like, I don't really have that many people to hang out with, so I just stay by myself most of the time. Oh yeah, also smells and things could affect people who have autism. It doesn't affect me at all. In school, yeah, bullying and stuff like that, some of it did, because I was kind of like tried to make friends when I was younger, and so I kind of was a bit mean in kindergarten to people. Well, not okay, but some situations happened. Yeah, speaking, yeah, some people could have difficulties with speaking. But yeah, but a lot of people like who are girls, like it's different than boys, like if you imagine. And there's a bunch of programs and things that I've done in the past. Well, I've done, and now, yeah, like this job program that I'm in, because it's like different. Yeah, a lot of girls, like, yeah, some of them have difficulties with social situations. So sometimes it might be difficult with eye contact. Same with boys, it could be difficult too with like it's more like, I feel like, I'm not going to be rude here, but I feel like it's more like the diagnosis more catered to boys, and it is like a lot of people, like women, get diagnosed when they're older, and then some people don't even get diagnosed, and they think back, oh, I might have been autistic. Or in like these shows too, they might be like, oh, the character is kind of catered to might be autistic because it's a wide spectrum. Oh yeah, and I'm also a very visual thinker. When I think, I like to watch physical things and physically learn with my hands and stuff about things. Yeah, but there's one girl on TikTok, I forgot her name, Paige, I think. I don't know where her last name is. She's from Canada too, I think. My mom said. She's not seen her on TikTok, and she has a YouTube channel, and she has autism. And she has autism too. Yeah. And she talks about her situation and things that sometimes, like, when I hear other people, like, I can maybe relate to their stories and stuff, or my struggles that I had. Yeah, and also in my choir, my neurodiverse choir, I'm jumping all over the place. We get to perform with different things, like we performed that when the Globetrotters performed here, or the variety show Hearts, or they performed for Greta Thunberg when she came here, but I didn't go to that performance because I was at camp, because I went to this special camp, and someone else did too, used to be in the choir. Yeah, so it's like for people who have invisible disabilities, yeah, because mine is invisible that I have, because like you can't really tell. You probably didn't even know I had autism. And so yeah, this is, I don't even know what else to say, because I've just been jumping and blabbering all over the place. But right now, this is just going to be the end of my video. This is going to be for Vlogmas Day 6. Yeah, because all my other videos that I've been making for Vlogmas. So thank you for watching this video. Now you know that I have autism and some other learning, like, challenges and things that I have. So yeah, so thank you for watching this video. I'm just rambling all over the place, so I'm just gonna end it here. So bye.